Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley. I'm an exercise physiologist and today we're going to be talking about your appetite. So the dictionary defines the appetite as a natural desire to satisfy a bodily need, especially for food. Okay? Another way to put it is a strong desire or liking for something. So it doesn't necessarily have to be food. Okay, appetite is a psychological desire for food, beverages, behaviors, people. Many factors influence appetite, including, for food, sensory responses to the sights, sounds, smells, and tastes. Other factors include behavioral and social issues that may affect these responses and senses. For example, the sight of food may tempt a person to eat, even if he or she is not hungry, or if a diner is not hungry, he may be tempted or she may be tempted to eat because others are eating. In each of these instances, the sight of food is transferred through neurons to the brain, which registers a desire to eat. It may override the physical feelings of satisfaction, even from earlier meals. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit more into this, but in regards to food, I have a lot of people that I work with that have, issues with overeating, emotional eating, addictions to foods. Some of these people are Christians, some of them are not Christians. And while we're all imperfect and we're allowed to, enjoy life, this isn't about, being so strict on ourselves that we can't enjoy life, but having control over our appetites and our desires is really going to help us get the most out of this life, okay? So think about this. Think about whether this has happened to you or not. You've gone out to eat and maybe you already ate, and just because you're there, you decide to eat something. Okay, I talk to you guys all the time about, your energy balance. So food, what is the purpose of food? To give us energy, to give us nutrition for our bodies, and then we can have food for pleasure. So as long as those main criteria are met, we can enjoy our food or, eat something maybe off of our normal food plan, okay? It's really hard watching people struggle with these type of addictions with food, because food is something that's normal, it's natural, it's something we have to do, we have to eat every single day. So the temptation for some people, is always there. I struggled in my teenage years with food, when I was bored, or I felt like nothing was going on in my life, or, I was just maybe anxious or thinking about something, I would go to bad foods, so I kind of know what that feels like. So if I was at home and I was bored and I was watching usually TV or like a show or something, I would drive myself up to the gas station and I would get myself some kind of treat. So it would be like Rice Krispie treats, I love that, Twizzlers, something very sweet, candies, different things, Swedish fish, and I would eat a lot of it until I felt kind of disgusted. I guess you can call that a binge. And I realized that, there was a link to my behaviors and this action of me wanting to get something super satisfying and super sweet and totally overpower my senses. No, now, how did I get over that? I decided that whenever I was going to do that, whenever I felt those feelings, boredom, whatever it may be, I would go for a run, or I would work out, or I would go for a walk. I replaced the negative behavior with something positive that was going to help me in the future and also make me feel like I had vitality, like I was alive, like I had some kind of purpose in my life and I wasn't just getting by to the next pleasure to help me get onto the next thing, going into college at that time and all of that. So that's kind of like my story. And since then, I've gone through different times in my life where I was eating less and I was eating more. And I think where I'm at now and what I've learned is that you have to give your body the nutrition it needs so it's not asking for those bad foods. So if my body's asking for sugar, I probably need more fruit or hydration, that maybe I'm dehydrated. You know, you can look up all the foods and how they're linked to different improper desires in food, okay? But for the purpose of this YouTube video, we're just gonna keep it kind of short on the food. But I just wanted to mention that because, you know, I've been there, I know what it feels like, and I know that you can get over this too. So if you're finding yourself, you know, in life where you don't think anything's going on, maybe the future doesn't look very bright for you, maybe you've gotten yourself to a place where you're just kind of getting by and, you know, life, it is what it is kind of thing, I challenge you to really tie your food choices and your behaviors into your emotional state and into your decision-making process. You know, everything feeds off of each other. So you want to be happy in life, right? We all want to be happy. We all want to feel loved and connected, and we all want to have some sense of purpose. So the food, I believe, does really tie into this, and it can be very powerful, especially because it can have an effect on our emotional state. Certain foods can cause the release of certain hormones and chemicals in our brains, in our bodies. Okay, so how to have control over our desires. We talked about that, retraining our brain, choosing alternate things to do instead of, you know, things that are detrimental to our health. Okay, so what happens in digestion? Okay, so the macronutrients are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So they break down into substances that our bodies can use for energy. Okay, so carbohydrates mostly into sugars, proteins into amino acids, but gluconeogenesis can also produce sugar from the protein, and then fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So all of these components have an effect on the body's, you know, cell making structure. You know, we get new cells all the time, and the quality of foods that we're eating really are building the person and the body and the mind. You know, everything that makes up a person, makes up you, is based on what you eat, how you treat yourself, really the lifestyle factors, right? Okay, and I linked some, as usual, I linked some studies below that I got this information from, so you can read it and gain further insight. Okay, so energy needs throughout our life may change, and this is something that I started thinking about through the research I was doing. So think about it. When you're a kid, when you're a baby, you're growing the most you've ever grown in your life, and you need not necessarily more food. Maybe you do need, you know, more, but it's all based on your current weight, right? So kids are growing. We can't deny that they're growing the most, you know, than any other human, you know, part of the human experience. Okay. Then you get into this period of when you're like a young adult, your midlife, that kind of thing. And I think this is the time where people really get into these issues of improper energy balance and uncontrolled desires, right? Because when we, you know, go through life, we have this, you know, not only our metabolism, but just our soul, our spirit, what makes us up has vitality. It has, you know, I wrote down the definition for vitality. It's the state of being strong and active. Energy. To experience vitality is regarded as the basic psychological drive, and in philosophy, a component to the will to live. So as such, people seek to maximize their vitality and their experience of vitality, that which corresponds to an enhanced psychological capability and mental states. This is talking about psychology, but really vitality is, you know, the resonance of all of our cells in our body and how we function on a day-to-day basis. Okay, so what happens when people get older, when they are in the later part of life? Most of the time, the desires or the appetites, they go down because there is a loss of vitality. People often will lose a sense of purpose. They lose, you know, an idea about their future, what that may look like. They may think that their past was the best part of their life, and that is behind them. Okay, so looking at it from a, spirit, soul, and mind perspective, keeping that vitality and lust for life is so essential to keeping up with a healthy eating plan. Okay, and you can see how the two kind of work back and forth. Okay, so there's other factors. When people age, they don't have the same capacity to swallow. They may not have the same ability to chew. So many different things happening there. But what my goal is for you guys is to take really great care of yourself, while you're young. And that is not only when you are in high school or college, but when you have the ability to create those plans, it really could be any age of life. You can start wherever you're at. If you are listening to this message and you are able to create a plan, you're at the right stage, you're at the right place of your life. So you just have to be able to have the self-control to not deviate from what you really want. And when life happens, there's ups, there's downs. You may feel great and you may feel terrible at times, but we have to not link our desires, our appetites, whether it's with food or anything else, to what happens to us in our life or what doesn't happen to us in our life. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So say you are waiting for something to happen in your life, and it hasn't happened yet, and you feel like nothing is going on in your life, right? You're, doing the quote unquote right thing. You're, going to work, you're being diligent about your work, you're being kind to people, you're taking care of yourself, you're exercising, you're eating healthy, you're having these quiet times in life where you're able to sense peace in your life and really exude your natural emotions in life. And to some people that may seem kind of boring and you feel like nothing is really going on in your life, and really those are the times that you have to be diligent, because those are the times where the temptations are going to come in and the thoughts are going to come in to tell you nothing's going on, nothing's happening, look how your life is, and we don't always see our lives how they really are, so you may be in a really good place and there's a temptation to get out of that spot because you feel like nothing is going on. Okay, so to have your controlled desires throughout the good times and the bad times, and not letting our emotions dictate our behavior. So you have to find out, what is your default setting? What is your default switch? Okay, so if I go throughout the whole day, this happened to me the other day, and it just seemed like everything was going wrong, and I had like this temptation to get mad, and I've been really working on that, because you want to, unfortunately, we feel sorry for ourselves and we're like, why is this happening? Why is everything going against us? But then I stopped and I thought, what if this is an opportunity for me to challenge myself and say, okay, why are these bad things happening? And bad things, I mean, like maybe I dropped something, or the door like hit my finger, like these little inconveniences throughout life that can create such deep and harmful emotions that can maybe lead us to making bad choices in our lives and throughout the day, right? Oh, I had such a bad day. Why? What happened? Oh, I slammed my finger in the door, and my boss told me I have to work harder, and I have just so much responsibility. I deserve to treat myself and eat bad things, or I don't care. I'm just gonna do whatever I feel and please myself and my appetites, and that is not going to help us long term. Okay, so what we could do instead is say, I realize these things are happening. This is outside of me. This is happening externally. How I react to it is really within my control. So taking a deep breath, really focusing on your breathing, I found to be very helpful for me. And then remembering my default setting. What are my goals? What is my default setting? That is not contingent on what happens to me. That is not contingent on anything externally. It's contingent on the decisions that we make for our lives and what we want for today, tomorrow, and for the future. Okay? So we learned a little bit about the macronutrients. We talked a little bit about, food in relation to appetite. Okay. Another thing I wanted to share with you I want to share a couple Bible verses I think will help you understand this a little bit more. But I wanted to read another part of this study that I posted for you. So energy needs change throughout life. Nutritional needs may be the most important. Okay, nutritional health represents a dynamic process throughout the lifespan. According to recent data using the gold standard assessment of energy expenditure, double labeled water, the human organism requires more energy in the development phases during childhood, followed by a decline up to around 30 years old, when a plateau is observed around 60 years old, and then a further progressive decline is observed in later stages. So that time between 30 and 60, that's like, I don't want to say the golden years, because I feel like every single stage of our life has beauty and value, and that just kind of makes you think like, there's only a certain amount of time that you have to be productive, and that's really not true if you're taking care of yourself. But just in regards to what needs your body has during those different stages of life, and being able to like have the reins of the horse of your desires, and being able to know when to go, when to stop, when to move, and really feeling like you have some sort of influence or control on those things in your life. Okay, so you want to eat for nutrition, energy, and then possibly for pleasure. But then the goal would be to get to a place in your life where the good foods, the healthy foods, actually provide a sense of pleasure, right? Whether it's, I love, for an example, watermelon or dark chocolate, or just things that are very satiating to you, that provide that level of satisfaction or nourishment to your body, that aren't really what the world is telling you need, right? You can be on the gym, you can be working out, and then there's a commercial of like Burger King, like, oh, look at this burger, and it's probably not even real meat, and it's probably not even real bread, and it's all chemicals, and it's like, that's what the world is telling us is going to satisfy us and fill that craving, but really it's just going to cause dysregulation, confusion, and further self-loathing, really, to be honest. We have to find a way to I don't want to say focus on ourselves so much, but at least be able to tolerate ourselves, maybe to the point of being our own friend, right? Obviously, we're putting God above everything. If you're a Christian especially, you have faith in Christ, our focus should be on him, and then he's creating us into the person that we really are. So we're really not looking at ourselves, we're looking at him. But getting to the point where you can accept yourself where you are now, and then, every stage of your life. That is the goal for me, okay? One of my goals. Okay, so the body is alive. Don't feed it dead, packaged, or processed foods, because those things kill our vitality. You don't want to kill your vitality, and we talked about what that is. Okay, so the Bible verse I want to share with you today, okay, it comes from Luke 8, and it's a little bit long, so just bear with me. So a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path. It was trampled on, and the birds ate it up. Some fell on rocky ground, and when it came up, the plants withered, because they had no moisture. Other seed fell among the thorns, which grew up with it and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil. It came up and yielded a crop 100 times more than was sown. Okay, so why am I telling you this, and how does it tie into what we're talking about? Okay, so what happens with the people that in relation to people, right? So really, these are the words of Jesus, but there's deep mysteries to the Bible, and this is something that Christ revealed to us, okay, through this parable. Okay, so when the seed was scattered and fell along the path and was trampled on, this is reminiscent of people that believe for a while, but in the time of testing, they fall away. Then the seed that falls among the thorns, for those who hear, but as they go on their way, it is choked by life's worries, riches, and pleasures, and they do not mature. Okay, so not only worries that can choke out our faith or our vitality, it could be pleasures and things that are supposedly good, riches, okay? Something to think about. And then the seed on good soil stands for those with a noble and good heart who hear the word, retain it, and by persevering produce a crop. So the seeds are the words of God through the Bible that we have, right? So you want to be able to have a clear mind throughout your life and make decisions based on, not on fear, not on worry, not on lust for more, but what is actually meant for you, okay? And all I'm suggesting here is that having uncontrolled appetites can really distract us from the goal of what we're really supposed to be doing in our lives. And really, it's that simple, okay? So think about your appetites, think about the things that are distracting you from, seeing things clearly. And I don't really have anything for you guys to do in particular to kind of like counteract those things. I want you to figure that out. For me, it was exercising, being still, and sometimes just being in a state of calm and stillness and waiting for the time to pass, reading scripture and filling your mind with positive things, talking to God. And I think one of the best things you can do is to have a sense of humor and a sense of lightness with yourself and with those around you. That is going to serve you very well throughout your life, if you don't know that already. And just keep going. Just keep going and keep making those changes, those little tweaks every single day, so you can get closer and closer to the life that you've always wanted. And you can have that at any stage of your life. We're on this journey. I'm not there yet, and I don't really know if there is a there, but I think the further I go along on this journey, the there is the state of being that I enjoy most, and being able to keep that. And I guess that can be a little confusing, like if you want to be joyful all the time, that's just not a reality. But what I really mean is just a state of pureness, stillness, and a knowing that everything is going to be okay. All right, I hope that wasn't too confusing, but I think you get the point. If you have any questions, please let me know. You can write me a message, you can write comments. If you want to donate, I have links for that. Have an awesome week. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.